Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Autopsy with Maddee P. I'm your host, Maddee P. And last week we did Boys and Booze. It was Valentine's, so if you missed it, Queen, hit that link. And this week we are talking about confidence. I'm so excited. This is not the last time we will talk about confidence, but I have a lot to say. Of course, when do I not? Also, I am just going to put it out there. I am watching Traitors. We're going to talk about it when the season ends because I don't want to give anything away to people, but if you're not watching Traitors, you should watch Traitors. Tom Sandoval looks the perfect amount of absolutely exhausted, and I am eating it up. If you guys remember in Vanderpump Rules, whenever Ariana was with Anne, the assistant, and they were like talking about the house and they first broke up and found out about Raquel, she's like, yeah, he's filming some show in Scotland. Do you guys remember him making it seem like it was like a challenge show? Do you guys remember that? Like, I thought he was going to be on like Man vs. Wild, and he's on Traitors. And don't get me wrong, the millipedes, the bugs, like, could never. But like, Tom. And seeing him that exhausted is just like a win. And okay, that's all I'm going to say. I'm not going to talk about Traitors anymore because I'm going to wait till the end, but I will be saying things. So if you're not watching Traitors, you should watch it. And if you are, God bless you, because you know what's happening, girl. I'm stressed. And I hate when things come out like every week instead of me being able to binge it all together. That shit pisses me off. I'm not doing any warm-up today, okay? So that's it. I'm not feeling my best. I'm a little bit under the weather. Like I said, this week we are talking about confidence. And I am going to start with a story. It doesn't have a ton to do with confidence, but more to do with parenting, but I wanted to share this. So I have these elf ears. Again, sorry if you're hearing this for a second time. I have these little elf fairy ears. And growing up, my parents would go out of their way to call me their fairy and to make sure I was never not confident about my ears or felt weird about them. And I didn't even know at the time they were weird. I didn't even know that like I had weird ears until like a year ago, really. And that goes to show good parenting because I genuinely was like, I'm a fairy. Duh, like proof. So that's just a little story that I had. And it goes such a long way to teach somebody that the things that make them different are actually the most beautiful things about them. And I think that was such a beautiful lesson. And I'm so blessed that I have parents that teach me things like that. But I thought that was so sweet because they successfully did it to a point that I actually thought that I was a fairy. So thank you, Mom and Dad. I love that story. And of course, we're going to start with a quote because of course we are. This week's quote: confidence comes from not being right, but from not fearing to be wrong. I think that is a great quote to start things out with. And when we think about confidence, we think about our outside. We look in the mirror and we're like, ew, I don't like what I see. We forget that oftentimes our confidence, the way we feel about ourselves, is in our gut. It's who we are. It's our behavior. And when we're not confident, 9 out of 10 times, we're insecure and shameful about who we are and our behaviors and our choices, our voice, the thing we said a week ago, the thing that you did last night. That's where a lot of our confidence stems from. And when we think of being proud of something, we think about our material objects. We think about the things to be prideful for. I've got a house, I've got a car, I've got cool designer items. And real confidence changes that because we realize what we really are proud of are the things that cannot be bought. It's cheesy, but the things that money cannot buy. We know that our worth and where we lie stems from the work we've done on the inside, the way we've helped others, and the obstacles that we've overcome. And then when we switch that pride and what we are proud of is ourselves and the work we've done, we can start to really, truly be confident in ourselves. Because let me tell you, when you look in the mirror and you're not proud of who you are, it really, more than likely, is underneath your skin. And I'm going to start with a little bit of a hot take. I always use the word hot take. It's never actually a hot take. But I want to talk about finances a little bit and about cleanliness. when I was going through what I was going through and trying to pick apart my confidence and see why I hated myself so much, I was like, where in my life, where am I most insecure? Immediately money popped into my mind. I don't have $1 trillion. I don't drive this big, nice car. I don't have my own home. I don't run a business. I don't know what I'm doing with my life. And I realized financially, I was not doing what I should on my end. I was not treating money the way I should. I was not looking out for my future. I was not caring about the bills past a few months. And I just want to say, being a bad bitch is getting on a financial plan. That's what being a baddie is. And figuring out your finances and what that looks like for you does a world to your confidence. And I know that sounds strange, but you carry that around if you're somebody that cares about money or you have weird money trauma. And we will talk about money because it ruins you. Having a weird relationship with money and weird financial trauma messes with your head and actually messes with your entire life and the way you look at everything. Being clouded by money, because the more you think about money is the more you're losing it. The more you're thinking about where you're going to get it, what's going to happen next. So I just wanted to say that being a bad bitch does include finances. Not being super rich, not where you get your money, how you handle it. How you handle it. Doesn't matter how much you have. And so that's a great place to start. Not sure why I started with that. Second one, cleanliness. This does not go with confidence, I think, in the way you're thinking. But we need a clear space. And I know you've heard it a million times, so I won't go too far into it, but you need a clear space and a clear mind. And as a grown woman, I'm holding your hand when I say this, your house should not be in disarray. Okay? I'm not hating. I am like OCD when it comes to cleaning, so I'm not even going to call anyone out because we all have lives and such. But to be greasy and to be nasty and to be leaving food out or doing whatever you do, it's not conducive. It's not conducive to your general health, emotionally or physically. And you are not able to look around at this clean space and have confidence in where you come from. Have confidence in your workspace. There comes a power with workspace, and this is true. It's also believed to be the same with meditation. You find one area and it becomes your power zone. You can really channel through this area. Same goes with the workspace. Where you're working, where you're focusing every day. My desk is 100% clean and I have the right motivators on my desk because it's power. And I'm focused and I get into a flow state in that specific area in my home. And it builds a confidence in me because I know that when I sit down at that desk, I mean business. And having those little structures financially and just a clean space do wonders for your mental health, but also for your confidence as well. And I know it might sound strange, but little things like that really uplift you. And because in reality, we don't like ourselves. We don't like our character. And these are things we can change. And as you heal, obviously, as you heal inwardly, you heal externally. And that is true because look at the skin. Look at the skin. You know, when you see people that meditate all the time or people that are on their shit, they're glowing from the stars. And I always joke and I say, I worked for this glow. I worked for this glow because I healed inwardly first. And we are going to talk about confidence on a lot of different levels because I am very well aware that confidence does stem from sometimes when we're looking in the mirror, but we're looking through these fogged, corrupt glasses that hate us. They hate us. They're our biggest hater. It's like that ex-boyfriend that just hated you that we talked about last episode. We're wearing those glasses. We can't see. We can't see. And our worth, what matters, is on the outside. And that completely strips away all of the beauty that you are, because in reality, none of that beauty is on the outside. It's resting deep in your chest. And that is something that is brought out and magnified. So really, we're just going to discuss what it's like taking the glasses off. Because I'm not going to sit here and pretend that confidence is easy. It's extremely difficult. But the reason that I am sitting here confidently doesn't have anything to do with my looks. Because if that was the case, I would have been confident a long time ago. Not to like toot my own horn. Obviously, I know I'm a pretty person. So that would have happened a long time ago. And the pride that I carry around now, the confidence that I have now, it's from what I've worked for, and that I put everything in my life to the side. The only thing I cared about was getting better and getting to a place that I could be proud of who I was. When I started I have a little manifestation book. When I started that, I didn't write what I wanted. I didn't write money. I didn't write a career. I didn't write for my purpose. Of course I did at times, but the main thing that I wrote about at the very beginning in that book was finding the girl of my dreams, was to be proud in who I was, that I was always kind, that I always was nurturing, that I always put people first, and that I always thought before I spoke. And the things that I didn't like about myself, I wanted them gone. I wanted to be a new woman emotionally. And I knew that whatever would follow after that would be great because I'm building a foundation. And that was what I aimed for, and that's what I'm proud of, because I put in serious work to do that. So this confidence and this head that I walk around with high is a full indicator of what has happened inside of me and the hope and peace that I now experience that I didn't have before. And that doesn't stem from what I look like. So I implore you to. And you know what's funny? In that journal that I'm talking about, I had written out a thing for a podcast in like 2019 or 2020. And when I was moving, I just shoved it in that notebook. That notebook, it was a receipt piece of paper that I had been writing out my podcast on at my server job. And I just shoved it in that notebook. And every time I write in that manifestation notebook, it's not very often. I don't over manifest because I ask that the will of the stars be done, that my higher power's will is done. Not what I want in my life, not what I need, but that I'm at the right place at the right time. And that what I'm doing is purposeful and it's not of me. And I have to work for it, but I ask for those things. I don't write down what I want and hold that notebook in hopes that I get all my hopes and dreams, because that's not really what my dreams are. My dreams are that I can channel the universe. My dreams are that I am a mouthpiece for the stars and that I can help others through that. And anywho, every time I get done writing in that manifestation notebook, when I have something come across me that I really want, or a new goal that I have emotionally, I hold it and I, take a second, concentrate and say, this notebook is the truth. I've written down my future and my truth in this notebook. And this will become reality. Each thing has thus far. Not each thing, obviously, but in terms of my emotions, a lot of it has. And it's so funny to me because that podcast has been in there that whole time. And when I started this journey, I wasn't thinking of a podcast. Obviously, that wasn't going to happen. I just wanted to get clean. And it's crazy that I'm sitting here doing a podcast now. Part of me wonders, did I do that? Like, did I manifest that on accident? Because I didn't realize until basically I was starting some of the podcast stuff. The piece of paper fell out and I was like, no, this is crazy. So I also pull a manifestation notebook. And I think that, especially for me, a lot of the critique that I had of myself, it stemmed from me not following my dreams. And I don't know if that's because I just really can't let go. Like, success is the most important thing to me, and really finding where I fit is just really important to me, I guess. And for me, when I started to build my dreams, it was like a confidence overcame my life, because yes, I might not have found my path. I might not make money off of helping people, but I am at this new piece that I know I'm in the right place at the right time. And I don't need to know what the outcome looks like. I'm not as afraid of the future anymore, of what's to come. And I think that a lot of confidence stems in following our goals and following our ambitions, and that we have a plan set out for our life, and each step we take is purposeful and it's planned and it's thought out. And a lot of our confidence stems from, I think, plans. And I realized with myself too, I am a schedule person. If my life is written out for me, my stress and anxiety of how I'm spending my time does not exist the same anymore. Otherwise, I am in complete disarray. I am in crumble if I have 20 minutes and I decide to sit on my phone. So I implore you to set out a written schedule for yourself each week. And I follow mine, actually cross it out. I even have written on my planner time during the day that I can sit down, watch a movie, relax, watch some TV, sit on my couch and watch TikTok, whatever. And it's crazy what that does for my confidence, because I know when I'm sitting down to scroll or I'm sitting down to watch TV or whatever, that it's rest and that it's purposeful. It's not just uncontrolled willy-nilly phone use, because I am a chronically online person and it cripples me literally. And so a plan for me, a schedule for me throughout my days has helped a lot with my confidence in that way. And this is fucked up, but do you ever meet a pretty girl and she's a bitch and you're just like, what a waste of pretty? Or she's like a dumbass or rude or pick me, and you're just like, what a waste of being pretty. I just burped. I burp on every episode, so I'm done bleeping it out, by the way. I'm not editing out all my burps anymore. Too much work. But don't be that girl. Don't be that girl. I don't know if it's the hater in me. I don't know why. I don't have a hater in me, by the way, but I don't know if that was a mean thing to say or not. But it sucks. And it's like, you know she could be so much. It's like, girl, why you hating for? That's because they're not confident. Some of the most beautiful girls you see, they're not confident. And they hate on other women. Non-confident people, insecure girls hate on other women. They tear them down. They see what other people have. They see a smile. They can't help but rip it off. And so I think that just goes to show that confidence it's deep. It runs deep, and it has a lot more to do than with how we look. And I wanted to share just a few ways that I've helped build some confidence in myself, and like maybe a few suggestions with that. So when we see beauty in others is when we start to see it in ourselves. When we help others, when we sit and actually listen to our friends, when we sit and talk with others, we see the beauty radiate from them. That heals us internally. And so I think being so patient and kind with others has really helped me to build my confidence a ton. And that also stems from, now I'm a good friend. I wasn't always like that. I was sincerely insecure in the way that I handled my friends, my inability to listen, my inability to not be selfish. It hit me in the face, and I realized how selfish I was, how much I don't listen to my friends, how much it bothers me. Sometimes, honestly, when certain people reach out to me and I'm like, oh my God, fucking this again, and being a piece of shit friend. That's a piece of shit friend. And I'm not scared to admit it, because that's how we help each other grow. And you know what, if I have to say it, I'll say it. And I think that was a really big help, with a really big confidence boost of mine, was because, you know, that's how we learn a lot, is through each other. And it helped me a lot to become a better older sister, to become a better daughter, and to become a better friend. It helped with my confidence in the way I viewed myself, because it's important that we can walk away from people knowing that we gave them our all, and that they have a piece of our love with them. And that when they walk away, selfishly, they get to say, we have a good friend and we have somewhere that we can go. I don't know why I'm so emotional about this today, but confidence is emotional. And before this, I was thinking about how much confidence has ruined me a lot of my life. And this is kind of the first time I'm really becoming confident. Any other time that I was cocky about my looks, it was just that, cocky. And it was only about how I looked. It wasn't about who I was on the inside. I didn't carry my head high for any other reason than a big fat ass. And that's not right. And so being able to now have that healed in me, and know that people can gain something from me, and that they can feel peace with and safe with me to share things, it brought me a lot of confidence. So I urge you to look into the sides of you that keep you from being a better friend, and that keep you from opening up and being there for others, or even silently judging them. And of course, you already know I'm going to say it. Romanticize your life, girl. Romanticize it. And I know it's so played out. It is so cheesy. But romanticizing your life, going on dates with yourself, wearing clothes that speak to you. So not like trends, but I love putting on an outfit that just screams, Maddie put this together. You know, it might be a piece of shit outfit. Everyone might hate it. but I know that I am being true and honest to myself. And I put on that outfit and go have dinner alone and just love who I am and say thank you to her. And that brings us to my another big recommendation that I have, is I would write and still write, I love you, I love you, I love you on paper and say it in the mirror over and over and over again until it's felt deep in my core. And I know that's a suggestion across a lot of different boards, so you might have heard that before, but I would write for pages until it really struck a chord. And the first time I did that and I felt that I loved myself, it was a game changer, because I was like, the world is already mean to us. We don't need to do it to ourselves too. The world already has enough to say. We have enough critics. Especially at this day and age, you need somebody on your side. The value in that is exponential. So writing I love you over and over again was a really good tactic for myself. And when I would reach certain milestones, when I would be able to recognize a flaw in myself, which is a talent, it is very hard to do that when we have this filter on. So applaud yourself if you're able to see certain parts of yourself that you were blind to before. And I learned to be very thankful for myself in those moments, or when I got away from a triggering situation, or when I coddled myself or was there for myself in a time that I didn't used to be. To remember to say thank you. Thank you for being there for me. Thank you for having the respect. Like, thank you, man. Like, and I write letters to myself all the time to say thank you for being there. And part of that stems from, there's two Maddies. There's two Maddies inside of me. There's the monster, the home hole, the subconscious Maddie, the Maddie who's been through all this stuff. And then there's another Maddie. And it's the new Maddie, the new fun, bubbly Maddie, the sober Maddie. And we all have a few characters inside of us. It's not just plain cut, you are who you are. And that takes a lot of healing, I feel like, on a lot of different levels. And so that brings me to another point. And I've said this before, again. When I decided to get sober in the beginning, the tiny percent of me that was still left in my body, the tiny percent of Maddie that survived through all the drug and alcohol use, fought tooth and nail for sick Maddie to come back. She was there for her. Like, it makes me emotional, and I'm so proud of myself for that. I'm so thankful. So thankful for that strength that I had during that time. And I fought tooth and nail for that girl. I really did. And I was there for myself in a corner. And that's what being a best friend looks like. Because when we become best friends with people, when we become close with people, we're there for them at all times. We understand who they are. We accept their flaws. We know they're not perfect. We accept those flaws and we understand that's a piece of them. And we don't criticize them for that. And doing that for yourself is one of the biggest leaps that you can take. Being a true friend to yourself. Being there in those dark, dark times and understanding that you are truly worthy. And sometimes I still don't feel worthy. I have to write it down all the time that I am worthy. And I don't know what that stems from and what deep in us keeps us hating ourselves so much. But it is so real, and I have to fight that beast all the time. So I don't want you to feel bad that you're not confident. I don't want you to feel bad for not hating yourself or measuring your waist, because it's real and it's a plague. And the amount of strength that it takes to overcome that is incredible. And being there for yourself at those times in those corners, that's where confidence is built. Because I know I made space for Maddie. I know if the Maddie I lost, the Maddie I wanted back, if I was going to get her back, she only deserved to come back to a safe, clean, healthy environment. And I had to make that space. We have to make that space for her to come back. I had to be there for myself to ensure peace, because that little girl Maddie didn't deserve to suffer. She didn't deserve the shit I put her through. I don't know why I'm so emotional and crying so much about this. It's just so real. And I won't apologize for that. And that's what confidence looks like, is making space for Maddie. And that goes for a lot of sobriety girls too. If you're early in sobriety and you're struggling with that mark, remember she's coming and you want her to have a safe and delicate space. And I'm just floored by that. And you see how proud I am. You see my tears. You see how much that meant to me looking back and how much it meant to me in that moment. That's confidence. That's where that stems from. I am proud as fuck of that. Proud as fuck, because it took everything. And I did not give up. I have not given up. That's confidence. That's confidence. Don't give a fuck what I look like. You know, that has nothing to do with what I look like. It has everything to do with who I am and the fiber of my being. And I got that girl back. I got Maddie back, but I had to fight for her. I had to be her best friend. I had to coddle her and make sure she knew she was beautiful and that she deserved every ounce of work that I was putting into her. That's confidence, you know, being there for yourself, really, really being there for yourself. And that's hard. So I'm not sitting here preaching at you, because that is extremely difficult, but you can get there. And also, again, I'll add meditation as a really good aspect. There's a lot of 10-minute guided meditations too that talk about confidence and about self-worth. And unfortunately, a lot of us have been damaged by people. Not only is it us that's ruined ourselves, unfortunately it's others. And letting go of those, I just threw my pen for real. I let go of that pen. Letting go of those past scars and those things that have happened to us, those certain words that you just can't get rid of. That one thing that somebody pointed out where you're just like, oh, I really hate that. And confidence too is, I learned to be patient with the stubborn parts of myself, patient with the parts of myself that wouldn't budge, because I knew that a lot of the flaws that I had, a lot of the things I hated about myself have been deep rooted since the day I was born. One of them being lying, unfortunately, and gluttony. There's a lot that comes with that, and we'll talk about defects too. That's a whole different episode. But I knew that those were deep rooted in me, and I couldn't lie. Pushing that shit out was going to be a lot of work. And I learned early on having patience with myself was a key in that, because we have patience with others. Why can't I have that with myself? And being patient when we push past those super, super big rifts in our personality and who we are is really important. And in reality, I was helping myself grow. And I didn't know how much I was helping myself grow through being patient, but it moved mountains. It moved the mountains inside of me that I thought I was just that person. I thought I was just a piece of shit, and that's just who I was, and that's not the truth. I'm here to tell you that's not the truth. And confidence is getting back to that childlike wonder that we discuss sometimes. It's dancing, it's playing, it's singing, it's being a little girl again. It's not caring what other people think. It's being authentic. That's what confidence is. Being unafraid of who we are and unapologetic for it. And being like, this is who I am, you take it or you fucking leave it. And that comes with a childlike wonder. And I think dancing and singing and creating with your head held high is really important. And standing for what you believe in really helps build your confidence. And like I said, we'll talk about assessing our character flaws. But if you want to jump on that, one thing you can do to help assess your flaws are the things that you don't like in others. We call this a spiritual axiom. We'll talk about it later, but essentially it means that the things that we don't like in others, we actually don't like in ourselves. And that's what triggers us, because we don't like ourselves in general, right? And assessing that helped me a lot. I know it helped me a lot, because there's so many things in others I was like, I hate that about them. I did the same thing, but sometimes even worse, when I was finally able to step back and see and put on glasses that could really help me see. And that helps obviously with our confidence, because it's about finding defects. It's about finding the parts of us that are just under the skin that we are just pissed the fuck off about secretly. Real confidence is knowing that you can do absolutely anything that you set your mind to. It's about not knowing that you're the smartest in the room, but knowing that you have the power and the strength to move mountains, and you know that you could put your mind to it, because you know that it might take extra work maybe to bridge the gap between maybe someone else's talent and your passion that you carry, but you're willing to work for that, and you know deep down at your core, you can confidently say, I have power. I am power. I am abundant. I am a miracle. I am magic. Other people don't have that. They don't have an understanding of the magic that lives within them. And if we can see the ancient wisdom, the generations, the magic, the holiness, the universalness in us, we treat ourselves with much more respect, because we understand that we're a result of centuries. We're a result of our ancestors. We are a result of generations and generations and generations. And you're not going to shit on your grandma, are you? No. So why are you going to shit on yourself? And carrying yourself in that way, it helped me a lot with confidence, to see that I am so much more than I think. I'm not just a little speck on a globe, and humans are so much more than that. And it's almost proof in the human condition to show that we are so magical that as a whole, we have a condition. That just blows my mind. And I know I bring that up sometimes, but we are so much more than people, and we're so much more than a speck on a rock in the middle of a universe, in the million of trillions of galaxies. It doesn't matter what it's looked like backed up. It matters what it looks like magnified. And that's that we're so much more than just us. And we have an obligation to give that to the world. And when that becomes your mission, like I said, your confidence, it stems from a much deeper place. So before you go watching all these things, reading all these books, trying to fix your confidence, or a lot of people fix their confidence by just trying to do new makeup or do new hair or buy new clothes, get filler, or do whatever the hell you do. Before you take those steps or you do the cheesy self-love things, get deeper. Evaluate where you are deep inside and the things that you hate that you do. And you have them. I still have them. And like I said, it requires patience. That's where that shit comes from. And we're magic. And you have to understand that. Because what we look like does not fucking matter. It does not fucking matter. And it's really hard to get past that, like I said. Girl, drop the paranoia. Drop the paranoia. Nobody is thinking about you that much. And I think about that all the time. Think about how wrapped up you are in your head. Think about how wrapped up you are in your life. You're not thinking about other people. You're not thinking about the thing they said to you. I mean, sure, to some extent. You don't get out of your head that much to give a fuck what other people are doing. People don't do that about us. And I'm waving my hands to tell you, literally, people don't give a fuck. Drop the paranoia. Dropping that paranoia does bounds for your confidence, because you realize nobody gives a fuck. Why do I care so fucking much? Yeah. Drop the paranoia. You don't matter that much. I'm sorry to tell you, you dead ass don't. In this regard, now I am encouraging you to view yourself as a speck, because it doesn't matter. You don't matter. Well, no, not like that. That was messed up. I love you. You matter so much. You don't matter to others, in terms of them thinking about you that much, and just drop the act. It helps with the confidence. And big point with confidence, the main takeaway I want you to take from this is gratitude. That is where confidence lies. Every day, write out what you're thankful for, why you're thankful for it, and say thank you to either your God or the universe or whatever you're choosing for that. Gratefulness is, you're gonna find the stem of a lot of this sobriety shit and a lot of this life shit. It's gratefulness, and gratefulness for where you're at, not for where you're going. And it's so hard for us to pause and think about how grateful we are for these things, but that's it does worlds for our confidence, because we're not wishing now. We're not wishing upon a star. The star is in front of us. The star is in us. We don't have to wish on it anymore. We can be confident and say we're thankful for what we have. And I'm confident to say that I'm thankful for what I have. I wouldn't need more. I don't need more. And that's a huge confidence booster, because you don't need more. You don't have to keep looking for more in the mirror, because you're just thankful for what's there. I'm just thankful I'm alive and breathing. I'm thankful I'm healthy and happy. I'm thankful I'm not using. I'm thankful I'm not drinking. I'm thankful that I have a family, a shelter, a roof. I don't have to worry about what I look like. I have so much. I am rich. I'm filthy rich right now. In this moment, I'm filthy rich. And it builds my confidence. It helps me to understand that it doesn't matter. It really doesn't matter. And like I said, this is kind of a shorter episode this week. I just wanted to get started on kind of confidence and the fact that it stems from deep, deep inside of us. And the second that you stand in front of that mirror and you pick apart the things that you're really, really deeply insecure about, just like everything else too that I explained as a snowball effect, finding just one of those character defects, just one of those flaws, and tackling it, looking to go after it, everything else follows. You start to see more and more, and before you know it, you're light and you're confident and you're secure in the moment. You're secure in what you have now. Sorry guys, my camera died. Don't even want to talk about it. We're just going to ignore that happened. But confidence stems from creating your own world. You realize that your own competition is yourself. Even if other people are competing with you, they're competing with you because they're insecure. They're looking for a competition. Somebody that's insecure is searching for competition, even where one doesn't exist. That is, don't know what's happening with the situation with the camera here. Anywho, you're not in competition. The only competition you're in is with yourself to become stronger, to become better than who you used to be. There is no competition anymore, and confident people understand that. And comparison is a thief of joy. We talked a little bit about comparison last episode, but we don't know who people are on the inside. So we compare ourselves to these people when in reality they could not be anything that we want to be. But we don't know that because they can't live authentically, because they can't show the world what they truly are on the inside. And we all have our own talents. We all have our own gifts. There are things that you bring to the table other people cannot bring. You might not have found that yet. You might not even be able to assess where your strong suits are because you can't assess where your weaknesses are either. But we do each have a purpose. That's a strong word, but we each have gifts, something that somebody else cannot do. And yours might be niche, and maybe you just haven't found it yet. But comparison is a thief of joy. It really is, because other people have different talents than us, and they represent a different walk of life than us. And you know the quote where it's like, dress for the job you want. Whenever I was going through changes and trying to find who I actually was, I love that quote. Because I realized the job I want is to be happy. The job I want is to be myself, because I have confidence that I'm hardworking and I'm looking for my purpose. And I trust that it will happen to me when it's meant to, because I've worked on my alignment. And I was like, dress for the job I want. I'm dressing like myself. That's the job I want. I want to be myself. So what I wear says a lot about me. If you don't know me, I love clothes. I've always loved clothes since I was little. But we get trapped in like these fast fashions. We care about how we dress. We care about what other people think. And I was like, I am going to dress for the job I want. I am going to wear whatever the fuck I want to wear, even if it's crazy, because I want the job of being Maddie. I don't want the job of I wouldn't want to be anybody else in the world. With the pain, with the tears, with the smile, with the heartache, with the happiness, every piece of her. I don't want to be anybody else. I would never want to be anybody else. And I never thought I would get to a place where I'd say that. So I feel for you if you feel the opposite, if you would be happy being anybody else. Because that's where now I wouldn't want to be anybody else. At that point in my life, I would be anyone else, anyone but me. And getting to a place that you realize that there is only one you, and you're so unique in your own ways. Getting to that place allows you to see the beauty in yourself and see the magic in yourself. And that's true confidence. And let me tell you, true confidence cannot be taken away by anyone. If you have real confidence, no one can take it. And your confidence should not be able to be held in your hand and ripped away from you. It's not tangible. Someone should not be able to take your confidence away from you. Otherwise, it's not real confidence. So remember that. No one can take it from you. And that's something no one will ever be able to take away from you if you mean it. And we get to choose the pain of discipline or the pain of regret. I feel like I heard that. I don't know where I heard that, but you get to choose one of those pains. And I realized I was living with the pain of regret for 25 years. And there is no pain in discipline, not for me at least, because it builds my confidence, because I'm working towards something tirelessly. And it's so cool to do that. I've been waiting for something that I could just work for tirelessly. And even if no one sees it, which no one even watches these videos, so it kind of doesn't matter, but I'm passionate about it and it makes me feel whole. And it's really uplifted me and really helped with my confidence making this podcast, because I have somewhere to exert my energy. And I know there is no other me. And some of the ideas and some of the things that I'm willing to share or be vulnerable about in sobriety, other people aren't willing to, because it's hard. And naturally, I'm just born a little bit wonky. So I like to talk about feelings and stuff. And that's a gift I have. And that might be a local level. No one may ever see these videos, but it might just mean I get to help one other girl. And isn't that crazy to you guys? Like, I don't know, helping others is just such a cool thing to me. And like, even just one person like walking away from you and what you said mattered to them and like actually changed their thinking. We should all aim to be like that, because the feeling, that's what builds me confidence. That's where I find confidence. When I say something and I can see that it's working gears and it actually worked. Not just saying something to preach at people, but something that can really heal them and make them feel differently about themselves. And it builds me up so much. It doesn't often happen because we think we're reaching people. Oftentimes we are not, or they're not listening to us. But when we really do, that builds confidence. You see the smile on my face just thinking about it? And I am learning how to find my voice. I was always a chameleon. I was always unique. There is always Maddie, but I was who you said I was and who you wanted me to be. I did not have a voice for a very long time. If I did have a voice, it was over some bullshit, and I'm learning how to find my voice. And while I do that, while I'm finding who I am, my voice shakes. My knees quiver. I get very anxious sometimes when I have to share things about myself, but I do it. Even if I'm shaking, I'm not embarrassed about that anymore, because I know that I'm representing strength, and I know that it's taking everything in me to say what I mean, even if I get made fun of for it, even if it's a comeback at somebody and I'm shaking, and see, I'm admitting that on the internet, which is embarrassing as fuck. But it's true. And I'm pushing myself, and it's like a little dance I'm working on of finding my voice and pushing myself, that even if I am quivering, I have to. It's my responsibility as a human to speak up. And there's been so many times where I've literally been shaking in my voice. It's like, girl, stand up with your chest high. It's not that easy. I'm anxious ridden. I'm anxiety ridden. I spent years trying to get away from who I was. Years. Like how I thought I successfully escaped. And I'm shaky. It's just who I am. Like at this time, as I'm discovering my voice, and I have to work with that. I have to have patience and say it's okay that my knees shake. You just have to get used to speaking, and you have to get used to the fact that people aren't going to like you. That's always been an issue for me. I've always wanted to be liked. And now I know that I'm finding that it really doesn't matter. I have found that, it doesn't matter what other people think of me. It doesn't matter their reaction, what they have to say. What matters is me. That's what matters. And that's what confidence is, that I don't give a fuck what anybody has to say. I don't give a fuck who judges me. I don't give a fuck who's talking about me behind closed doors. I don't care. Hate on world. I am who I am, and I am that confidently. And that comes with a strong voice and confidence and ability to do that. And we have to learn that. We have to have patience as we walk that walk. And confidence is a walk that we are going to walk for the rest of our lives, because we're going to go through ups and downs with it, especially as women. We don't trust ourselves, ultimately. I did not trust myself to the point that I didn't even know what it meant technically to trust myself. I didn't even know you could really trust yourself. And I have been pushing myself a lot, especially through this podcast, while I'm editing and trying to figure out what to put into the world. I want to go show a friend and be like, do you think this is okay? And I push past that. I'm telling myself, no, what do you think? you trust yourself. What do you think the world needs to hear? What do you think is appropriate? What do you think is inappropriate? What do you think is sharing enough? What do you think is oversharing? And leaning on myself during that time. And that can go for any walk of life you're in. I'm just using my podcast as a comparison because that's where I'm currently at, pushing myself, not asking for help anymore, and not being so unconfident in who I am and what I'm, like I said, create with your head high. And I'm hitting that place now that it doesn't matter what other people think of me. And that comes also from trusting self, which is a really big dance to do. It's, for me, for a period, it was nearly impossible. And again, I know I keep saying, we'll talk about that, but I can't talk about every single topic in one podcast. But trust yourself and learn what that means, which is learning your strong suits, learning your weaknesses, and knowing that at your core, you're right, and trusting your gut. And trust is 90% of confidence. It's trusting who you are and that you're honest when you speak. And that's really hard with sober people. So I know for some people, they're like, this is all obvious, Maddie. We all know this. Most sober people don't. Actually, I did not. And if you're getting sober, you do not have confidence. I don't care what you think. Like, I'm sorry, but you don't. Otherwise, you wouldn't be in the situation you're in. Even if you have a little more than others who are getting sober. I'm sorry. Ellie's sitting on the couch right now and she is sleeping and she looks so cute. Like, I literally can't stop looking at her. That's what I'm looking at. I want to take a picture. My camera's going to die, so I'm going to take a picture. Anyways, these little things that other people have innately, we had to chameleon ourselves. We had to make it so that people couldn't see to the inside, or they were going to make us get help. Or they were going to call us out on our bullshit. And we can't handle being called out on our bullshit. That's why we're in the predicament that we're in. So building confidence is listening to your sponsor. Building confidence is finding your character defects. It's really working on yourself. So confidence is only skin deep, they say. Or what do they say? But you know what I'll say? Comparison is the thief of joy. And I'll say it a million times and I'll say it again. But I'm very proud of you. And why is my camera struggling to focus? I think because it's about to die again. But you are beautiful. And I know it's so cheesy for me to say, but you are beautiful. And you are nothing until you decide that you are something. It does not matter what anybody else is telling you. Your confidence can't be crumbled. You're a strong woman, girl. So I'm proud of you. I'm sorry for all the emotions today. I am sick, and I'm just kind of ignoring that I'm sick. So this is where we are. But I love you guys, and I'm very proud of you. And remember, confidence is key. Confidence will change your life. Living authentically is what brings you peace. Trusting yourself will bring you peace. You won't sit in such anxiety and such despair anymore. And I urge you to find that. So I love you guys. I hope you gained something from this. I'll see you next time. Bye.